about them. I'm going to read a couple lines from this poem. Dried maple and ash bark, lush emerald flats, the fall-colored arena hark, the wide superior mats. At the valley's peak, encircled my life, the open space speaks. Let me end the strife.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend and got to celebrate Mother's Day. Just wanted to give like a quick analysis. I wasn't really going to stream today just because there really hasn't been anything happening. But I figured, I'm going to stick to what I practice what I preach. And, this is like midday for me. So I've been saying, guys, the market's boring. Don't get lazy. Don't get too bored. And make sure you're, still checking. You don't have to constantly check, but 2 or 3 times a day, just set an alarm. Just go through the hour 4 through 1 day. That'll keep you in the loop. That'll keep you aware of higher time frame setups that are way more important than these lower time frame choppy moves that, I'll be honest, aren't even worth trading in the beginning. What's up, Derek? How's it going? What's up, Yasser? How's it going, man? I'm doing good. I had a good weekend. The weather was perfect. I actually shot with the SWAT team on Friday. I've got pictures and videos. I'll probably share them soon or at least put them in Discord. Perfectly fine to share, but frankly, I don't know how everyone feels about all that kind of stuff, like guns and stuff, so I don't really want to piss anybody off. But yeah, it was really, really cool. Can you please look at Tau? Want to open a leverage trade. My friend's seeing Tau dropping to 300, 315, but I don't see it. What's your opinion? All right, just for you, I'll open up Tau first because I bought a lot of Tau. I bought another $10,000 worth of Tau at $400. I just don't see it dropping any lower than it is. Who really knows? But what I do see, and frankly, guys, when I got into Tau, I was in at about $100, $120. That was here. Maybe part of here. So realistically for me, I was in here, bought a little bit more here, Not really all the way at the bottom, but somewhere in like the 220s, I believe 220s and 210s. Bought a little bit more, and then I bought a little bit more here. So ultimately up quite a lot, almost 2x, 2.5x. I mean, the like 80% of what I bought is right here, and then like 10%, and then like another 10% realistically. But the thing that I see with Tau, and realistically, this is with several other altcoins, including Bitcoin, is you got these big bullish divergences. So even if we do dip a little bit lower, I mean, to me, you're just creating a bullish narrative. And to be firm and frank, I want long-term capital gains. If this thing has to range for another 6 months and then it flies, let's say like next October, just for an example, I have no idea if it'll be next October. Let's say next October, I guess I could use the timestamps here. We'll use the timestamps as an example. Let's say like we just kind of bounce around all summer, September happens, and then we start mooning into next winter, right? Like November, October, December, January 2025. Like let's say we do something like this. I'm okay with that because now my original position, that is the majority of my position, is held in long-term or is taxed at long-term capital gains. So for me, that'd be huge. I'm not too worried about like the little ins and outs of what happens between now and realistically November of 2025. Now, if we just like go to zero, that's, that sucks. That's the risk that I was willing to take. But for me, be fair and frank, like even if we hit like something crazy like $4,000, I wouldn't want that until November 2024. And for those of you that don't understand it, where I live, you're taxed at up to 40% when it's short term. Short term is short term is under a year. So basically, I'm gonna mess this up, but less than a year, right? Anything less than a year, you're only taxed up to 20% for long term, and that's holding 1 year plus. So as long as I'm holding over 365 days, I'm taxed. The maximum amount I can tax is 20%. If we go to like $4,000 Tau, I mean, that's a multi-million-dollar trade for me. I'd love to not pay as much in taxes, to be fair and frank. So Tau for me, and this is kind of translating to the ultimate answer I'm going to give you, I wouldn't really look to trade this. I would look for a long-term opportunity. As much as I love taking swing trades, I wouldn't use the weekly. I mean, if you're going to take a leverage trade, I'd use the 4-hour or the daily. And to be fair with you, I don't see any sort of trade setup at all. There's a possibility that this is a double bottom in the works, but again, on the daily, you're trade if that's what you would like to do in order to like buy Tau or be involved with Tau. What's up, Dorian? How's it going? Were you part of the last major cycle in 2020-21? If so, did you have a successful run? Is this cycle shaping up the same as that cycle? So I participated in that last cycle and the cycle before that. So realistically, and I'll give you a quick timeline before we get into all of the analysis. I started like here with crypto. So I saw the top. I saw the euphoria back in November of 2017. I participated in all of this. I really started getting heavy into trading around here, or at least heavier into trading crypto. I traded a lot of biotech stocks. So for me, it was like, what's easier to trade? What follows technical analysis? I'll be honest with you, like the research you do for like biotech and some of these like riskier stocks with like news-based or fundamental trading is it's just way more work than it is. And TA, maybe it just comes natural to me, but it's pretty easy. Got really serious about trading here. Really, really, really serious about trading in here. Actually did buy a lot of the original COVID low, and that's kind of what helped take my portfolio to where it is today, because I ended up selling about 53,000, 55,000 up here. I have old Discord messages with some of the individuals on Discord that have been here for a while. So for those of you who don't know, I started posting on TradingView, and then I came to Twitter. I didn't know Twitter had a big like trading scene, so all my trading stuff was posted on TradingView. Ended up getting very, very macro bearish here. For me, I really didn't think any of this would happen, but I figured that 65K was the top. Dumped a lot. Ended up DCAing again in this range. My average was between like 31 and 32K. Rode this all the way up to 50K, sold it, made a ton of money again. And then my last like big long trade of the prior cycle was here. I actually saw a double bottom at $41,077. Rode that all the way to like 50K, sold it because I didn't think we'd go any higher. We went all the way back to 65K, made some alt trades and stuff, made a little bit of money, but ultimately was very successful during the last kind of cycle. I would say the first time I traded, guys, it was near the top. It's not that I didn't know what I was doing, but certainly, almost 10 years ago, I would say there's a monumental difference in at least determining like macro plays. Now, with this cycle, for those of you that know, I was really bearish here. I was extremely bearish here. Rode this all the way down and then started my DCA right when we hit 17,500 for the first time. It was basically buying all the way throughout this. As soon as we broke 25K in this range here, I stopped DCAing, stopped buying alts. I stopped buying everything. Now, I will say I have bought bits and pieces of stuff here and there, but it's not at all of significant value to what I bought down here. Been riding that spot, been making trades along the way. I won't lie to you. It's been a very difficult trading market. The first trade of, I guess, 2023, we originally pointed out this double bottom here, rode this up all the way to, I believe, 23 or 22,000, sold it, was the biggest, really the last biggest swing long I've made. Now, I've made like, don't get me wrong, I've made money trading, but in trading in dollar amounts or percentage amounts, this is the last like large percentage long trade of night. Now, again, I've made 10, 15, 20% gains here and there, but this was a 45% gain here. Yeah, almost a 50% gain. So, that was my last really large one. Made some trades in here and in here. Real basic and easy stuff. But, I would say this cycle has been the most difficult to trade, likely due to some macro reasons, likely due to the fact that, no one can predict the market, and probably likely the fact that everyone now uses leverage. Leverage trading wasn't a big thing really until like here, right? Like, I thought the market was significantly easy to trade in this box. You had more pattern-based trades. You had better price action. Futures trading wasn't huge, and now it is. And in some regard, it's, I think, made trading a little bit harder, a little bit scammier. There's more deviation than ever before. But compared to last cycle, I don't think you can compare cycle to cycle. I think we're actually much further ahead. I mean, Bitcoin's sitting at all-time highs. Ethereum is, and I gave this example to my I guess my private analysis group this morning. Everyone thinks that alts haven't done anything. ETH hasn't done anything. ETH is down 40% from highs. Back in the last cycle, ETH was down 90% at this time frame. What is that? Like right here? Almost 90%. So the assumption that alts haven't done anything and alts are never going to do anything and alts suck and all this, it's just like you have no perspective on any other cycle and you have no patience. Because one, we haven't seen a liquidity shift, and two, we're actually outperforming last cycle so far in regards to relative strength. And honestly, in gains. Ethereum was up like 200% from all-time lows here. Or I guess lows, not necessarily all-time lows, but the lows. Ethereum's up almost 300%. Right? I mean, I think it is 300%. Let's see. or 3x. It's 241%, but like 3x. So to me, everything's outperforming where we were, you know, this time 4 years ago. So I just don't see the argument of, you know, nothing's ever going to pop off. Guys, alt season lasts like 4 months. I mean, look at Ethereum in 2020. When Ethereum started its like bull run here, you know, breakout, retest, kind of consolidation to head higher. This was a 96-day period. It's like 3 months. Do I think Ethereum to Bitcoin can drop below 0.04? Possibly. We can take a look at it. We're going to take a look at all that here in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of cover some bases there. I know we're bouncing around a little bit, but let's get into the normal analysis for the day. Guys, it's going to be quicker. I'm not going to lie. The market's been extremely boring. There's not a lot to talk about. But here we go. So my kind of assumption that we're going to make bullish divergences here, create higher lows, lower lows on RSI, somewhat becoming true. What we didn't want to happen, which is not happening so far, is we do not want to create a higher high, because then we're going to get bearish divergences. We do not want to see bearish divergences. What we ultimately want to see here is the formation of bullish divergences, form this bull flag, and take us higher. Right? We want to see that consolidation. We had the highest percentage gain in the shortest amount of time for the SPX, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones, market-wide. So again, this assumption that like this kind of correction is the top, I'm just not on board with that at all. This is the beginning. Did you cover a lot yet? Not really. Just covered some, like, bounced around. We went over like where we're at in the cycle for Ethereum, and that Ethereum's actually outperforming last cycle, and that everyone needs to stop their bitching about Ethereum being trash. Because let me tell you, last cycle Ethereum did nothing for the longest time, and then that liquidity shift started happening. And then Ethereum sent, but and then what else did we talk about? We talked about, I think we talked about something with Bitcoin. I can't really remember, to be honest with you. Oh no, we talked about Tau. We talked about Tau. Tau is one of the AI coins that I wouldn't say like involved with, but it's one of my largest altcoin investments. So talked a lot about that. If you're interested in Tau, just go back in the stream, check it out. Is there still hope for a mini alt summer? So going to get to that. Yes, I tweet it every single day because it's, you know, I feel bad like tweeting the same stuff every day, but there's nothing to talk about. And I don't trade 15-minute time frames because they're a giant waste of time. Most alts took a beating, but some look good on higher time frames. Yeah, but a lot of those alts were up like 500%. They needed to take like a 40% drawdown. So with the dollar, you know, guys, until we either break below here or break above here, there's not much really going on. We're just ranging, right? I really don't have a lot to say about the dollar. I mean, there's really nothing on the daily. I mean, maybe like a lower time frame breakdown retest. You know, maybe we'll go a little bit lower, below 104. That'd be beautiful to me. But I'm not sure. I mean, stocks need some time to correct, like at least a month. I'd say crypto's corrected enough, but I would like to see alts take off, which means that Bitcoin's probably not going to move much. So real quick on all the total charts, just a reminder, we have bullish divergences and nothing bearish anywhere on this weekly time frame. Not to mention, guys, for any of you that are bearish and wondering like, oh my goodness, is this distribution? What is this? Guys, we pumped almost 100%. This downward move needed to happen so we continue higher. Okay? We have no bearish signals on the 1 week. Literally none. We have bullish divergences all over the 1 week. We have bullish price action all over Bitcoin. We actually have bullish divergences on several altcoins as well. It's quite remarkable that reading trend is now somehow difficult. Total 2 again, bullish divergences. Total 3 again, bullish divergences. Not going to waste a ton of time here, guys. I talk about this all the time. If you're new here, you know, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but these are all the things we've been discussing for weeks. One thing that's providing confluence again to that overall uptrend for crypto is the downtrend for the I guess tether dominance. Right now we have bearish divergences between the last two highs. We actually have higher highs in RSI and we have lower highs in RSI. Ultimately, not seeing any signs of reversal, exhaustion, or anything. So why should we be bearish here? We also have bearish price action, volume going down, price going up. We also have a breakdown and retest to continue likely lower. So again, I'm just not getting the whole bearish narrative here. On the daily, we have this, and it is kind of awkward, and I'm unsure if it plays out, but we do have this kind of awkward head and shoulders. You know, if we get below this neckline, it's done, right? You're looking at a reversal. Right, let's continue on. So Bitcoin kind of following that confluence with Tether, and I'll pull up a side-by-side just in case. So at Tether, we're getting this kind of awkward head and shoulders. Well, Bitcoin now has an awkward inverted head and shoulders. I am unsure if this plays out. And part of that reason being, if you guys open up the line chart, especially for Bitcoin, I don't know if this qualifies as an inverted head and shoulders. The neckline's weird. The right-handed shoulder's weird. Your right-handed shoulder's also below your left-handed shoulder. I guess I can show it easier with dotted lines. So you look at the dotted lines, we actually went below and closed below the left-handed shoulder. Generally speaking, that means that this pattern is not going to play out. Symmetry goes a long way on the upside of really anything. I mean, there's always a chance, right? If we break 66K, we're looking good. And if Tether, breaks down through probably 4.5%-ish. Yeah, I'd say 4.5. 4.6. 4.6%. If Tether can lose 4.6%, you're looking better, right? You have that confluence. You are confirming something. But at this moment, I'm unsure if it plays out, to be honest with you. It's just the line chart looks really, really awkward. But let's take a look at 4 hour. And again, the 4 hour, there's just nothing here. I mean, this is just the craziest chop. I mean, we literally have just chopped completely. It's been it's been boring since the beginning of May. I mean, really, since we bounced, we haven't done anything. I know this is from bottom to top, you're talking about 6%, but I mean, I don't know how, other than this 1 hour head and shoulders here that we did call out the 1 hour head and shoulders. Other than this, there really hasn't been anything happening. I mean, we had this really weird candle that looks very manipulated. And then we spent the weekend chopping, pumped this morning, kind of moving sideways now. I mean, there's a chance that we move higher. Right, I don't want to say there isn't, but there's really nothing giving us a direction, whether it be at least on these lower time frames. Because I'd say the higher time frames, yes, are very bullish. Right, the higher time frames are pointing towards a macro uptrend continuation move. So for me, I'm less concerned about a 1 hour. The 4 hour, I'd like to see something. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd like to get this. I'd like to see this. To me, it'd be a nice little symmetrical triangle. We get a double bottom at the end. It would just be an easy trade for me, right? I'd like an easy trade. It's been a long 10 weeks, right? I know some people have been successful and find success in this kind of shitty, choppy environment, but for me, I don't really care about it. I just want the macro moves, which there's about 10 to 20 of them a year, right? I don't really care about all these micromanaging moves that move, up and down. Sometimes they're decent, but most of the time it's just chop. Don't you think Altseason is really reliant on QE, which may happen? No, Altseason's reliant on Bitcoin's liquidity moving into altcoins. There's nothing to do. Like, people think, and again, you can tell who's really versed in crypto. People think that, like, retail is the reason why alt season happens. No. Guys, no. The alt season happens because Bitcoin sells off, usually makes a little bit of a rebound, and all of that money from the sell-off goes into other things that haven't moved, like Ethereum, like any of these altcoins that aren't even near all-time highs, right? That's how alt season happens. Retail just ends up buying the top when everything's kind of pumping really hard, right? You'll have all these meme coins pumping really hard, and everybody thinks it's retail and retail's money. Guys, retail does not move the market at all. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. What are my thoughts on XLM? I traded it last cycle. Haven't really been interested in it this cycle. And the only reason I'm not too keen on looking at a bunch of different alts, but I guess we can pull up XLM just because the market's so boring right now. Anything you see here that isn't this or this, all of these I own. Right? I'm very spread out. I know some people are going to argue, oh, you should be in this versus this or that, and this, guys. I'm spread out enough. I'm fine. I know some people are like, oh, you shouldn't be in Filecoin because of XYZ, or you shouldn't do this because of that. It's like, how do you know what's going to happen? Right? I'm spread out. I'm in some good stuff. I'm in some stuff that might be questionable. But when alt season happens, everything should run. Yeah, let's pull up XLM, and then we'll talk. Actually, real quick, we'll talk about Bitcoin dominance because I know people are asking about Ethereum and Bitcoin dominance. So the biggest thing for me, guys, is the weekly. The weekly chart to me at least looks like exhaustion. Looks like, I just don't see trend continuation really happening here. You have bearish divergences on MACD and RSI. I'm unsure if volume really matters for Bitcoin dominance, but you do have volume going down as price has been moving up or value has been moving up. To me, it seems like exhaustion, right? Or at least a much longer period of sideways needs to occur in order to really continue upwards, right? Speaking of, on the daily, or at least on the weekly, it looks like there's a gigantic double top forming. On the daily, not so much, but on the weekly, I mean, it looks like some kind of, I guess not because this big wick. But even if we head up slightly higher, now you're talking about more divergences, more issues. I mean, look, if dominance wants to keep going, that's fine. Eventually that money is going to pour into alts, and the more money we get in to Bitcoin, the more money is going to go into alts. So frankly, it's fine with me. But what I'm seeing is we need a much larger cool-off period. And I know some people say, oh, well, 4%, because 54 to 50%, that's only 4%. That's nothing. It's like, I mean, that could take Ethereum well beyond all-time highs. So 4% is something. But last but not least, look at Ethereum to Bitcoin. So yeah, Ethereum to Bitcoin does kind of look like shit. We are slowly kind of dropping off. Now, again, you still have bullish divergences, but it's just kind of weird. It's a very weird looking chart. Are we going to hold 0.04? Unsure. Maybe we just drop to 0.04, consolidate, and then start our run there. And there's nothing wrong with that statement either. I'd say Bitcoin dominance is giving me at least way more trend signal, or at least trend confidence, than Ethereum to Bitcoin. Ethereum to Bitcoin just kind of looks like it's hard to decipher because you've lost support here, but we bounced back, and now we're kind of dumping below. But I know that breakdowns are... I mean, this doesn't even look like a breakdown, to be honest with you. I know it is breaking down, but it hardly looks like a breakdown. All right, we'll look at XLM, and then I'll take a couple questions. So if you guys got any questions, please let me know. Then I'm going to call it a day because, guys, I'll be honest with you, the market's been boring. There haven't been a whole lot of trade setups in the last couple weeks. And, in times like this, the best thing for you to do is to just be patient and not walk away, but try and do something else while the market's working something out. Like, continue to check the chart every day, but keep yourself busy, because if not, you're going to go crazy. So with XLM, we're just still kind of in that little range here. Probably accumulation range. Kind of looks like Link before it broke out. I don't know. I mean, it'll probably go when Altseason starts, but I guess we'll see what happens this summer. You do kind of have these, I guess we have a much lower low, but you do kind of have this like bullish divergence here. So then we start to bounce up, right? But, really until we confidently break 0.13, 0.14, it is what it is. I mean, it's just in a range. Yeah, I'll do AVAX, and then after that, I'm probably not going to do a whole lot of alts, guys. There's really no reason to be trading alts until Altseason, which isn't going to happen probably for another year. AVAX, so again, just right off the bat, you have bullish divergences. So for me, these are all my support and resistances. And for those of you that don't know, I do a private analysis every day. You have to sign up through Patreon, but any charts you want me to go over, any questions you have, obviously it's a much more in-depth analysis. Every day it's about a half an hour long. We go through everything. We do trade setups. We do everything, anything educational, whether it be risk management, whether it be pattern identification, whether it be price action analysis. We do all that. And if you're like, hey, can you check this altcoin too? I mean, there's a lot of options there, right? So if you're ever interested in that, check it out. If not, no worries. But again, I'm probably not going to do a lot of alt charts until Altseason, and we're not even close. Really, the only reason I'm doing it now is because there's nothing else to talk about. But for AVAX, I mean, you have the divergences. You also have the divergences on MACD, it looks like. So, all right, guys, if no one has any questions, I'm going to end it there. Excuse me. I'm going to end it there. There's just not a lot to discuss at the moment. Realistically for me, Bitcoin's daily needs to either break 66K or we're just going to kind of bounce between 65 and 60. Again, unsure if the inverted head and shoulders plays out. But if we break 66K, you're looking at a confirmation, so be prepared to long if that happens. All right, guys, I will see you on Wednesday. Have a nice rest of your week. Make sure you're keeping up with charts, but don't wear yourself out. All that said, be patient, use risk management.